Everyone has a limit, and he's reached his. This is Nick's Take, a new type of political talk show about the current status of our country, elected officials, and the rest of the world. He'll give you his take on it from an old school anarchist with common sense and a true Generation Xer. Nothing is said from a place of hate, but this is an uncensored show. So if you're easily offended, turn back now, Cupcake. Here's your host, the one and only Nick B.
Yes. What is going on, everybody? As the intro said, this is Nick's Take. My name is Nick B, nationally syndicated radio host, and now, I guess, podcaster, because that's kind of what this is. This is my show about politics and about the world and everything that is going on in the world. Not that I think I'm some kind of intelligent person. I don't think I've ever been accused of that, is what I'm trying to say. But I do feel that my particular take on things hasn't been established in the media. There is no anarchist. So I am an anarchist. I have conflictions. I'm still growing and learning and trying my best to navigate this world. But at the same time, there are certain things that I believe that I will not get rid of. Sometimes I align, 100% with anarchy, and sometimes I don't. And so it's like, I think it's a very unique thing for a political show, and I decided to start talking about it because I've got a lot of fancy equipment, and it's like, why not, from my radio show days. So today is kind of an off-the-cuff day because I'm going to discuss briefly the situation that's happening in LA. I have been seeing a lot of things on X and various social medias of people like freaking out about what's going on over there. The riots, the illegales coming in, the ICE agents coming in, whatever you want to call them, coming in to round up individuals. And a lot of it is misconstrued. And a lot of these people, particularly young people that are in like their early to mid 20s, even early to mid 30s, they don't remember a lot of history, and they're not really taught the history either. For instance, one of the biggest things this last week was, Trump has declared martial law. He's sending in the Marines. This has never been done before in the history of the United States. And bullshit. We go and we check the records, and lo and behold, George Bush Sr. did it back in the 90s during the, ready for it, LA riots. Now, I'm not saying I agree with it, but I am saying it's been done before. I'm not saying that it's not the end of democracy, but it's not the end of democracy. So, all of these people that are freaking out over the things that the president has done is because they've been allowed and able to get away with things for so long without any kind of repercussions. And as an anarchist, that kind of hurts me to say, but here's part of where my conflictions are. When I was younger, I was all about, yeah, man, anarchy, fuck the man, don't let anybody tell you what to do. I'm still kind of that way, but at the same time, I now understand and realize and see through my aged eyes, I guess, why it is necessary for us to be a civil society, that we do have laws that we must abide by, because if we don't, LA is going to happen every day all across the country. And another aspect to this is those people are organized. It's a very organized protest. It's not something that's just a spur of the moment. There's reports that people have been seeing brick pallets laid out. This is the same stuff that happened during BLM and Antifa marches, if you remember those. Oddly enough, under Trump's first administration, these are things escalated to purposely make this administration and this particular candidate look bad. And as an anarchist, I look at it and I go, they keep attacking him so bad, and what has he really done? Yeah, we can sit here and we can argue the bullshit case in New York if you want to, but most people know that when the CEO of the bank that he's being accused of defrauding comes in there and says, he didn't defraud us, he didn't defraud anybody. The lady that claimed he violated her was all over the media and social media talking about how she fantasized of these things. So I'm not saying she's lying, but I'm saying that should be questionable. But this man had to be destroyed. The system, the symbiote, whatever you want to call it, the Matrix did not want this man getting anywhere near the White House. And as a true old school anarchist, that makes me go, I want to see what this dude's about. He's not a fascist, because Oddly enough, they have redefined that word. Those of us that grew up in the 80s and 90s were told fascism was a left-leaning ideology, and now it is preached and it's said in every dictionary that you can find that it's a right-leaning belief system, when in fact, Nazis and the whole Nazi party are socialist, which tends to align with liberals and the left way more than it does conservatives. But nobody wants to hear that. And again, I'm not a conservative, nor am I a liberal. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm an enigma because my political views and political philosophies and political ideas are changing pretty much daily at this point because I don't want to believe or trust anybody anymore. There's a lot of stuff that's come out over the last few years that have proven to me that I shouldn't trust anybody, that I should look up things and look into things on my own and not take anybody else's word for it. And that's what I'm going to start doing, or attempting to do. Like even things on my last show, the very last show for Nick's Take last year, which was the first season, the inaugural season. This is technically the second season. I was talking about Israel. My entire view and my entire belief about Israel has changed just since October of last year. There's a lot of stuff that they've done and a lot of things that they are continuing to do that I cannot get behind and I can no longer support. And it's as simple as that. Now, the same can be said for Trump. I am not a Trump supporter. I do support whoever my president is. It doesn't matter if I agree with them or not. They are still my president. I still give that office the honor that it deserves, even though I believe wholeheartedly that nobody has the right to tell me how to live my life. I will die on that hill. Nobody is above me when it comes to me. The only people I yield to, and this is where I break from anarchy, is I believe that there is a creator. That's it. Outside of that, I'm not obeying. I'm not complying. I'm not doing any of that within respect. Because again, I don't want to live in a society where LA is happening all the damn time. I have kids, I have a wife. I don't want them to feel like they are no longer safe where they live. So that's another part where I break from anarchy. So again, what's happening in LA is multi-leveled. The fact that the federal government was coming out there to enforce federal law, and you have a governor of a state saying, we're not going to comply with federal officials. And then you have a mayor saying, we're not going to comply with these federal officials. That makes them targets because now those federal officials, should they get in trouble while they're trying to do their job, their duty, then they are not going to be able to call on the local police to help them to bail them out because they've probably been given an order to let them lie. Let sleeping dogs lie, right? And that seems to be what happened. Well, these federal officials kept getting attacked. When you poke the bear is eventually going to turn around and bite your fucking head off. And that's exactly what happened in LA. This has nothing to do with actual immigration. This has nothing to do with trying to change our immigration policies. It doesn't benefit anybody for you to set fire to private property, or worse, public property, or to assault police officers. And again, I realize how crazy this sounds coming from an anarchist, but again, I've changed a lot of my beliefs. I do not believe we should have a police system. I don't. But at the same time, I recognize why they are needed. They are needed to keep these evil people that are trying to destroy our way of life. And that's the real about it. This is not me being some conspiracy theorist. This is not me just being some idiot behind a mic screaming things. If you look at what's happening, they want full-blown anarchy. And nobody wants that, because then you can just go and have your way with somebody without any repercussions. Because that's anarchy. You can go and kill somebody and it won't matter, because that's anarchy. Again, to be in a civil society, we have to have rules, we have to have laws, and we have to abide by those rules and those laws. The people of California weren't doing that. The federal government said, hey, we're coming. The local government said, fuck you, we don't care. And this is what happens. They have blown it so far out of proportion because, again, there are people working to disrupt the system. Why? Because when the system falls, when it fails, they will install what they want. And I'm here to tell you, it's not going to be anarchy, and it's not going to be anything that we currently have. Everybody loves to scream, our democracy's in danger, our democracy's in danger. And yet they don't see how they're being played with these riots and these fights that are going on out in LA. They're not even looking at it because they're like, Orange Man bad. Orange Man's doing this. Orange Man isn't even going by the Constitution. This is an authoritative regime. This is a fascist regime. when they don't even understand the meaning of any of those words. None of them. Like, again, what happened recently, a senator, which before I get into that, let me just explain something pretty quickly for the people that are taking time to listen to this. A senator is nothing other than a private citizen that is completely overpaid for their job. They are not somebody that is some all-seeing, all-knowing, all-wise person. They are not somebody that is up on a pedestal. There are a lot of people that have put senators and representatives on a pedestal and started calling them our leaders and this, that, and the other, which gives you the notion in your head that they are somehow better than us, and they're not. They are just like you and me. The left likes to scream nobody's above the law when it applies to Trump, but not when it applies to them. Just like the senators that went to the ICE facilities and they were met with resistance because there are ways of going about visiting these situations or visiting these places, and they didn't do it. They just showed up thinking, I'm a senator, you got to let me in because it's my duty. No. They have to protect the people that work there first. Again, you can come, you can observe however you want, but you've got to do it by the right means. You can't just show up. And when you put your hands on a federal law enforcement, congratulations, you just broke the law. And when you fail to comply to a lawful command from one of those said federal officers, or even just a local police officer, guess what, jackass? You're getting arrested. It doesn't matter if you're a senator. It doesn't matter if you're a governor. It doesn't matter if you're a president. If you disobey a lawful command from federal officials, you're going to be arrested. That's the way the world works. That's the way the law works in our country. A brain-dead person would understand that. But here you have the left all over X, ranting all over YouTube, ranting all over Instagram, ranting. This is authoritative. Imagine if they did this to a senator, what will they do to you? And I'm sitting here going, bitch, I lived through COVID. I saw them doing this to people. I saw Tim Walz sending his local police down the streets of neighborhoods to shoot people with paintball guns because they weren't staying in their home. Nobody said this is them being authoritarian. Nobody said this is fascist. They accepted it. Why? Because Democrats were in office. But now, because a Republican is in office, all of a sudden everything is fascist. Everything is authoritarian. Everything is this. Everything is Nazis. They love to say these terms because they know nobody knows what they mean, and it's just going to get people in their feels. And when you read some of these liberals, some of these Democrats, some of these people that are actually looking at it going, oh my God, this is the worst thing to ever happen to the United States. This has never happened. Our democracy's going to end. We're all going to die. They get it repeated over and over and over so that the uninformed actually get scared because they know if you're living in fear, you're not actually going to look at anything of what they're actually doing. You're not going to realize they are eroding your rights faster than you can think. And it's not the Republicans doing it. It's not Trump doing it. The Democrats are trying to set up senators to be some kind of above the law entity, and they're not. The president isn't even above the law. The president is still just a regular American citizen, just like you and me. The only difference is his job is a little bit more important according to the federal government. That's it. The same thing for senators and representatives. They don't have some kind of free, don't touch me, I can't go to jail, you can't do this because I'm doing my constitutional duty. That's bullshit. Because when the federal government gives you a lawful command, especially if it's Secret Service, FBI, Homeland Security, or anybody else that's considered a federal law enforcement officer, you have to comply. Failure to comply will get anybody arrested. And nobody wants to say that. I'm here saying it. The senator that got arrested did not have a security pin. He didn't have a security badge. He did not have authorization to be there. He used his title as senator to make his way into Homeland Security Secretary's press conference and cause a ruckus. He got what he wanted. He knew this was going to happen. Hell, I'll go as far as to say he was probably paid to do this because now it's everywhere. And again, they're all regurgitating the same thing on X, Instagram, YouTube. Doesn't matter where you go. Even some of the news organizations. If they would do this to a senator, what are they going to do to you? Again, bitch, I saw what they did to my fellow citizens during COVID. They shot them with paintball guns because they were on their own fucking porch. But that wasn't fascist. Oh no, that was a pandemic. It was strange time. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't want mass death. It doesn't matter what your reasoning is. It's still the very thing you are screaming is happening, which it's not, was happening then, and nobody batted an eye about it. They just accepted it. Hell, most of us accepted the fact that we weren't even allowed to leave our house to go to work. They wouldn't let us go to the hospitals to spend the last few minutes with some of our dying loved ones because of COVID lockdowns. That was as fascist as it gets. That was as authoritarian as it gets. That was a dictatorship, and we let it happen. That's where the anarchist in me comes out and is like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? You don't see that they played you in 2020, and now they're playing you again on your sympathies, on your compassion, and the fact that you think a senator is, for lack of a better term, above the law. When in reality, they're not. When they're given a lawful command, they have to abide by it. They are nothing special. They aren't. So this senator got what he deserved. He did not obey a lawful command, and he got arrested. And I'm sure he'll, peacock up and do everything he can to rile up the base, because that's what they do. That's the only thing the Democrats have left. They got hammered so badly in this last election that the Democrat Party as a whole is panicking because they lost a lot of the people that support them, usually without question. They lost a lot of the gay vote. They lost a lot of the black vote, and they lost a lot of the Hispanic vote. Now they're seizing on this opportunity that's happening in LA to try and get those people to come back. Yet a recent CNN poll said 57% of all of the legal immigrants here approve of what Trump is doing, because they know what's happening in LA isn't Trump's fault. It's Governor Newsom's fault. It's Mayor Bass's fault, because they effectively said it's open season on these ICE agents when they get here. And that's the sad part. Nobody is willing to look at it and go, holy shit, this is wrong. This is actual fascism, that they're not letting the federal government do what the federal government is supposed to do within its constitutional authority. And everybody's like, oh, state rights, state rights, state rights. Yes, state rights are sovereign. They are something that should not be trampled. But when you have a governor openly calling for the disobedience of federal law that has been federal law for decades, for hundreds of years, that's not a state rights issue. That then becomes a federal issue. And the fact that some of the courts, when Newsom started putting in his court, going through the court procedures to try and get Trump stopped from releasing the Marines, the judges were like, no, because they know that the federal government is well within its rights to do what it is doing. Is this a good photo op for Trump? Absolutely not. For the Republicans? Absolutely not. But at the same time, the law is the law. And if we're going to be a civil society, we have to obey the law. I know it's sad. I know it sucks, because there are a lot of good people that are getting caught up in these raids and these immigration things that are going on. And it sucks. It does. But at the same time, if you want to be here, you should be here legally. Now, Trump came out today and said he's going to do some legislation, or he's going to do an executive order. I don't know what it was. I think it's an executive order. And that's another thing. I'm sick of these executive orders. Get something done in Congress. Push these things through to get things codified while you still have the House of Representatives and the Senate majority. Because when the elections come next year, we're going to lose. I know we're going to lose, because they're going to use these photo ops to smash down your head. This is a fascist regime. We've got to get Trump out. We've got to get this corrected. He's not the legitimate president. All these things, all these talking points are going to get you so fearful that you're going to vote for the other side. I've seen them do it. They've done it multiple times in my lifetime, and they are doing it to a T from the playbook of the Democrat Party. They are lying to you. I'm not saying the Republicans aren't lying, but they're not lying to you about what they're doing right now. Hell, Trump told you he was going to deport everybody that was illegal. What did you think he was going to do? And again, my heart goes out to these people that are the actual people that were here working legally, and maybe they just haven't paid. They haven't gotten around to doing it. Whatever the case may be. The people that were picked up at their own court dates where they were trying to become citizens, that was fucked up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The Trump administration, the ICE administration, whatever, they fucked up when they started arresting people that were legit there for their final viewing, or their final, thing that they had to do to become citizens. The last thing they had to do to become a citizen. Don't touch those people. They want to be here. They're abiding by the law. They're doing everything we've asked them to do. And you deported them? That's a bitch move. That's a hoe move. And that was some bullshit. Going to churches to get these people. But at the same time, you have people that are abusing the church privilege and letting people hide out so that ICE won't come and get them. Not this administration, because this administration clearly was elected by the American people to do this. The American people were like, hey, we need to get these illegals out of here. We need to secure our border. Well, that's what they're doing. Whether you like it or not, that's what the majority of Americans voted for. A large majority of Americans voted for. That was one half of what people voted for. That was one of the most important things of the last election, was our security. And you've got a lot of gang members. You've got a lot of Chinese spies. You've got a lot of Russian spies. I know they only tell you about the Hispanics that are being swept up, but they're getting a lot of these Chinese people, these Indian people. They're getting a lot of people that have been sitting here and squatting here, some for decades, without even trying to become a citizen. I know several people that came over illegally. They worked their ass off, and the moment they could, they became a citizen. They saved their money. They did everything they could to become a citizen. And again, the people that were at court that were doing everything to become a citizen, that was fucked up. Deporting them, arresting them, whatever. And some of them have been released. And that, okay. But here's what I'm saying. I think we should institute, if Trump really wants to help, like he said he's going to do something for farmers because we can't afford for the laborers to be sent away. Most of those laborers left the moment Trump got elected. They elected to leave voluntarily. There was a huge caravan of cars going back to Mexico when Trump got elected because they didn't want to get arrested. And I don't blame them. But we need to put some kind of policy in that says if you are working in the United States at any company, paying your taxes, and for lack of a better term, keeping your nose clean and not getting in trouble, we should give you a quicker way to citizenship. Lower the fee, waive the fee, do something to grant them citizenship. Ronald Reagan did that. Ronald Reagan granted more people citizenship than any other president had. And I got a feeling Trump is going to do the same thing. I really do. I think he's going to work to try and do something to grant citizenship to a lot of people that are here legally, that are clean, no criminal background, and he's going to give them a path to citizenship that's going to be better than the DREAM Act or whatever it was that Obama did, because that didn't really do anything either except delay some of the inevitable, like the so-called dad from Maryland that everybody got pissed off about because he got deported. The guy had gang connections. It doesn't matter that he wasn't gang banging here. Well, it's hard to prove if he was or not. There, depending on who you want to believe, there were incidences that supposedly happened in Tennessee where he was arrested taking people that didn't belong to him across state lines and things, so that leads to potentially sex trafficking, and he's going to face charges for that when he gets here, or if he's not already here facing those charges. You don't hear anything about that. And all these other people that are screaming, oh, this is just a big distraction so that you won't realize Trump is in the Epstein files. If you think for 1 second, for one fucking iota, that Trump is anywhere on those Epstein files and the Biden administration didn't release him, you're a fucking idiot. I'm not saying he's not on those lists. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying everybody's on that list. Everybody in government, everybody in entertainment, everybody in music, everybody in finance, everybody at every level of our government. There's a lot of people on that list, which is why we're never going to fucking see it. If Trump actually releases it, it's probably going to be around election time next year. The lists are going to come out. And I will be shocked if there's not a whole lot of Republicans on there, because there has to be. It's just the nature of the business. They had to have gone and talked to Epstein because he was financing a shit ton of campaigns. And if these people don't show up, then it's a bullshit list. And Trump will lose what little credibility he may have left with his MAGA crowd. And he's going to lose credibility with a lot of people that are in the middle of this all too. It's not a distraction from the Epstein list, because they're doing everything. They're the only administration I've seen that actually has tried to do something to tell you about the Epstein list. The FBI keeps telling us we've got to wait to make sure no victims are caught up in this, no information about the victims get leaked, stuff like that. I can understand that. That seems reasonable to me. If they're lying to us or not, we'll find out. Trust me, the truth will always find a way to come out. But if you think the Democrat Party doesn't know that list, and if you think that Trump appears on that list and they didn't release it when they had the chance, again, you're a fucking idiot. You are. Because the moment the Biden administration came in, Epstein and his pimp, Giselle or whatever, they had already been arrested. They had the whole case. Epstein killed himself under Trump's watch, but Ghislaine, however you say her name, Maxwell, wasn't. She's still alive. They could have easily put stuff out. The question is, why didn't they? Especially if it would have ruined the chances of Trump becoming president again. The reason they didn't is because most of their party is on the list too. And I'm not saying everybody that's on that list was doing inappropriate things. You have to understand, Epstein put himself in government parties. He put himself at these fundraisers. He put himself everywhere to spread his money around because he was an asset to either the CIA, Mossad, or both. And that's just the cold hard facts, because the way DC works is blackmail. And Epstein had blackmail on everybody, maybe including Trump. I don't know. We won't know until the list actually comes out. So everything that's happening in California is completely Governor Newsom's fault. Is Trump going a little bit overboard? I don't think so. I think Trump is doing everything he can within his power to right the ship, to get this craziness under control. And again, I'm not a Trump fan. I'm simply saying, because again, he's fucked up in a lot of places where he was taking people that didn't deserve to be taken. Hardworking people that didn't have any kind of criminal background. Their only crime was they weren't a citizen yet. And even though that's a crime that technically means you could be deported, I think those people should get some kind of, I don't want to say pass, but they definitely should get some kind of help. Like, oh, well, we know you're here illegally. You've been working very hard so that you can support your family here and in Mexico, whatever the case may be. And we'd really like to waive the fee and help you get to a citizenship path much quicker. Something to that effect. Something like that can be done. It can be done easily. But one side wants to keep them illegal so that they can use it for an election season. One side isn't even trying to make them legal because now they believe that the American people want no illegals here, when in reality, we need them. Our workforce isn't wanting to do a lot of the jobs. That's just the cold, hard truth. They are needed to do a lot of the work that most Americans refuse to do now, especially at the rates that some of these people are paying. And the illegal immigrants, whether they be Hispanic of some sort or Chinese or whatever, they'll do it because they want the money. Americans are like, I'm not sweating for less than $38 an hour. Are you kidding me? We're entitled assholes at this point. And it's sad. It really is. I digress. This has been my take on what's going on in the LA situation. And the senator getting elected or getting arrested is nothing more than an entitled asshole on his soapbox, trying to get his 15 minutes of fame. And he did. I've never even heard of this senator. I'm not from California. He's not one of my elected officials, but at the same time, he did it to himself. He did not obey a lawful command. Nothing more, nothing less. Because again, if you want to believe Trump is not above the law, because he's not, then neither is the senator. And when a federal officer told him to stop and identify himself, he didn't do it. When they asked him where his security pin or security badge was, he didn't have one, which means he was a threat. It didn't matter who he was. He wasn't supposed to be there. I digress. This is the kickoff of Nick's Take. And again, I will try to record these episodes as much as I can. I take my travel mic with me. It just so happens today I was in the studio and I was not really doing anything. So it was like, okay, we'll go ahead and we'll kick off the next season. So Nick's Take will continue. I don't want to say it's going to continue daily, but I will continue to do these hopefully at least 3 times a week from wherever I may be. Sometimes they're going to sound a little bit better. Sometimes there's going to be more of an echo in the background. Whatever, just roll with it, okay? Because I've been traveling a lot. I got a lot of stuff going on. You want to learn more about what I'm doing, you can follow me on X. I am at It's Nick's Take. That is where I'm the most active. I also have an Instagram by the same account and a YouTube channel, I believe. If not, the YouTube channel will be coming. But of course, you can always go to nickbnation.com where you can learn more about me and all of my other shows. This is my political show. I do have some music shows and things that aren't as serious as this. But this is the end of this episode. It's a short one. It's a brief one. Nobody is above the law. That senator is entitled. Stop thinking that your senators are leaders and that they are somehow magically not able to be arrested, because that's just a fallacy that you need to just forget. If you are given a lawful order from a federal officer and you don't comply, you get arrested. The same is true with senators, representatives, congresspeople, state authorities, mayors, governors, presidents, all of them. If they are given a lawful order and they do not comply, they get arrested. That's democracy. That's our republic working. And by the way, that word democracy, you know what it means? It means cohabitating with people that have varying ideas, people that don't think like you. That's democracy. When you only have one thought process or one party, which seems to be what the Democrats are pushing towards, because everybody that thinks different from them, oh, you're a fascist. Oh, you're racist. Oh, you're a Nazi. That's not democracy. You want everybody to think like you, act like you, be like you. What's that? What is that called again? You look it up and you let me know. I know what it is. Do you? It's Nick's Take. You want to learn more about me? Again, go to www.nickbnation.com, or you can go to nickstake.com to see previous episodes. There is no video of today's show, but I will put this up as a video file with the audio later. I cannot leave you without giving you my customary goodbye, which is hug your loved ones each and every day, because you never know when the good Lord will call them home. For every dark night, there's always a brighter day, and life is just a party, and parties weren't meant to last. I will see y'all on the next Nick's Take. For now, that's all I got. Y'all be good.
Wow, that was something. The proceeding was produced by Nick B. Entertainment. All rights reserved. Don't even think about using any portion of the show without the express written consent of Nick B. Entertainment. We'll get you. To learn more, subscribe, or to see what the hell we're up to, visit www.nickbnation.com. Y'all be good, and we'll see you next time.